Okay, so um, thank you everyone for being here. We're very excited to have Tina Guenette join us from Ramp. And I'm not going to take up any more time. I'm going to turn it right over to Tina, and I'll try to run your slides, Tina, and we'll see if we can make this happen.
I
Thanks for being here.
appreciate you, Jen. I told you this is my first time doing an actual slide deck, so we'll see how this goes. Good morning, everybody. For those who may not know who I am, my name is Tina Guenette. I am the CEO, founder, and people connector of RAMP, Real Access Motivates Progress. What we do is we educate and advocate for accessibility and business events, cities and towns across Rhode Island and across the country. I'm also a presidential Biden appointee to United States Access Board. So what I do here in Rhode Island, I also do federally. So I'm very excited to be with you all this morning, and thank you all for having me. I'd like this to be interactive, so if there's anything that I say going forward and anybody has a question, please raise your hand. I'm sure Jen will be able to identify you and let you ask those questions as we go along. So this is not me talking. This is hopefully an interactive for everybody to participate. So what we're going to be talking about today is some things that are very near and dear to me, accessibility in housing and in parking. And we'll touch upon real quickly about the ramp approved for the businesses in your cities and towns. So let's get started. Why is accessibility and why does it matter? Access is optional, it's a foundation. We design for disability, we benefit everybody. If you make things accessible, it works for everybody. Mothers with baby carriages, people who had recent surgeries, walkers, canes, wheelchairs, so many disabilities that, and people who don't even have disabilities just have a hard time accessing certain things. So accessibility should be a foundation and not optional. So that's that. Second, language matters. Say accessible, not handicap. If anybody knows where the word handicap came from, it was in the 1700s when King Henry, whatever number he happened to be, made it legal for people who were missing limbs or had polio or SARS to beg in the street. Hand in cap is where handicap came from. So by using the word handicap, you're basically calling everybody beggars. And by the way that the world puts the disabled community right now about we could only have $2,000 in our bank accounts, we can only earn so much. If we go to work, we can't take raises or anything, because if we go over a certain amount, we lose our benefits. We feel like beggars. So we say accessible, have inclusive language by accessible. We have a bill that's up, that's just about ready to pass, that's actually going to be changing the parking signs to remove the word handicap and say accessible. Are we removing all of the parking signs at once this passes? No, fiscally that wouldn't be possible. But as you're adding new spaces, as you're redoing the signs because they're broken down or whatever, we're asking you to recreate the parking sign. We don't really care what the symbol looks like. It's got to be the international symbol, person in a wheelchair on a blue background. But accessible parking would be a better way of putting the language to be more inclusive and not putting it on the visual, putting it on the area. I'm just gonna, does anybody have any questions on that? Seeing none. Parking equals independence. I am somebody who, I'm in a power wheelchair. I know you can't really tell that now for those who don't know me, but I drive myself. I drive my van. It's an adapted van with a ramp and hand controls. That is the only way that I can get around, because I also am the last house in Rhode Island. I am out in Burrville. I'm at the very tip. So literally I'm the corner, I'm dot in the corner. Of Rhode Island, and there's not a lot of services. Ride doesn't really come out here. MTM, it's a chore, and I'm not registered for any of that. It takes a good 60 to 90 days to get registered. So when my van breaks down, I can't call a friend. I can't call somebody just to pick me up, because nobody has my kind of van. Nobody has a way of picking me up. So our vans and parking is imperative. I can't remember one day that I have gone out that I have not been blocked in or out of my van because of somebody parking illegally or not correctly in the parking signs. So part of the accessible parking bill removing the word handicap. It's House Bill 5883. It includes the parking mobility app. And this is an app that we'd love for all cities and towns to adopt and to start using. Once the bill passes, we'll be able to write laws of how it works. But the parking mobility app is an app that it's almost 15 years old now. I've been working with them for the past 12 years, getting all the bugs out of it, making sure it works. What this app does is it puts it in the citizens' hands to report parking violations. It's completely anonymous. The only thing that you have to put is your name and your email. I am Tallulah Flanagan, because when I started this, I wasn't sure how private it was, but then everybody started knowing me at Tallulah on the other end. So I left it. But it's what it's supposed to show is that it's private, that nobody knows that I'm reporting somebody and there's no issues. So what it basically is if you download the app to your phone, you walk through the violation. If you're violating somebody who's parked in the hash marks, you take 3 pictures through the app, which nobody can adapt. They cannot touch those pictures afterwards. If someone's going to take pictures of your car, I would rather them do it through an app where they can't throw it up all over social media. That is the point. While they feel like they're doing something to report it, they're not posting it all over social media because they have no access to those pictures again. So the app will, if it's not a actual parking spot, if it doesn't have the hash marks and an upright sign, those are the only 2 things that make an accessible parking spot, are the hash marks and an upright sign. It could be painted any color of the rainbow. It could be painted on the ground. It could not be painted on the ground. It doesn't matter. If it doesn't have those 2 things, it's not an accessible parking spot, which we have that problem here in Rhode Island. They don't have one or the other. So here's what you do. When you go through the app, you request it becomes an actual parking spot. Once they fix it and put the hash marks or put the upright sign, now it is a finable spot. So through the app, you can report violations. You can request accessible parking. You can also report curb cuts. We have this wonderful thing here in Rhode Island. We build these big, beautiful curb cuts, and we stick a telephone pole in the middle of them. So it's not workable for us because we can't get past the telephone pole, or they're broken curb cuts. It just doesn't work for us. So through this app, you can report. So now your city and town will be able to know where the curb cuts are that need to be fixed, where you need to address issues, where there's an on curb cut, but there's not an off curb cut. That can all be reported. And all of that reporting stays within the app in the state of Rhode Island and can be broken down into cities and towns. So we can give you a report for your city and town exactly where the violations are and what needs to be done. And for those of you who have scooters and bikes that people can rent, people can also report those that are left laying in the middle of the sidewalks in the street, blocking an accessible curb cut. And here's the way that we want it to work. Once we get the legislation and you guys all adopt a parking mobility app where the citizens can now report, here's the way that the legislation is written to go. Jen, I'm going to use you. Jen parks illegally in a accessible parking spot. It's a $250 fine here in the state of Rhode Island. Or you can pay $50 and take a 30-minute online parking course so you know how to correctly park. So we're not going after the fines. We're going after the education to stop the culture of parking this way, because in our driver's ed classes, they don't talk about accessible parking at all. I don't know if all of you went through or your kids went through, they don't talk about accessible parking at all. So we can't blame somebody for not knowing what they don't know. I mean, they should know by now, but we want to educate people. And according to the bikes and scooters, you can report a bike and scooter and they have a little license plate number on them. We can connect that to their credit card and say, you can't rent another bike until you take a 3-minute online course. 2 violations, it's $100. 3 violations, you can't rent a bike or scooter for 6 months or however many months we want to put it. So again, we're not going after really fining people. We want the education of doing the right thing. we're going to have those people that would just pay the $250 and not care. But you know what? We can take that $250 and we can put it into making more accessible parking spaces, making the curb cuts better, fixing our cities and towns with that money. Because our goal is the violations in your cities and towns that come and we charge, that money will go back to your city and town. So by the way you promote it and the way people find it in your city and town, that money will go back to you to repair those violations. Anybody have any questions on that? Thoughts, concerns? Is anybody with me? It's weird talking to a bunch of black faces. It's
Boxes,
black
yeah.
squares with little people in them.
I have
Yeah.
a quick question.
Okay.
Sure.
So I know this is still in the works. I totally see the vision. Out of curiosity for the reports, would you expect that to go directly to the municipality, like for example, the DPW? Or would that go to the state and then like it kind of sounded like it would get broken down and reports would be sent to each city and town?
We are still working on that. In all reality, the way we would like to work it is that report go to the city and town. So each city and town is responsible for their own violations. We could get an overview through the state of everybody that's got reports, but we think it would be better going to the city and town so the city and town can take care of their violations and whatever is the way we're working. Like I said, we're still working the bugs out. We have to get it fully past the House and the Senate, which they plan on passing it, but they ran out of time this session. So they plan on passing it. I've heard good things. So once it's in legislation, then we can work on, the finding, and we want to work with all of you to see which way you guys would think it would work best. So this is not us telling you how it's done. We would like your input, put a committee together and see the best way to move forward. But you can all start using the app today. Get yourself used to using it's parkingmobility.com. Just download the app. It walks you right through it. It will kick back to you any violation that you made that wouldn't legally pass court. So that way it teaches you how to correctly report. So if you get some violations that are kicked back to you, don't get discouraged. It just means you need to learn what accessible parking is and how to properly report the violation. It's really easy. It took me, myself, who knows it, 3 or 4 times to get my violations to stop going through. But again, the more data we have, the more money we can put into this and the more money federally we can get, because we'll be the second state to be adopting this. Texas has fixed their parking. In Texas, it's a $750 fine. And the only ones who get that are the ones that come from out of state that don't know what accessible parking is, because the Texans have learned that they don't want to get a $750 fine. So if Texas can fix parking, Rhode Island can fix parking too. So we're hoping to be second and be successful. Any other questions on that?
No.
Jenna, did you have a question?
Nope, that was great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's very interesting.
Thank you. And so like I said, you guys can go to parkingmobility.com, download the app, start walking through it, start getting your people. Like right now, Twin River, I've taught all of their security guards how to report, and they are reporting like 30 to 40 violations a day. So thinking that if Twin River is reporting 30 to 40 violations a day, how easy it is for somebody like me to go out and about in the state and not get blocked in. Now, just to give you a little percentage, 56% of Rhode Islanders identify and registered as a mobility aid evacuation with FEMA if we were to have a major emergency here in the state of Rhode Island. So we all know that Rhode Islanders don't like to register. So those people are me's, the ones who are in electric wheelchairs, the paraplegic, the quadriplegics. So think about your mother, your father, your grandparents, or ever who are just starting to use a cane or just had hip surgery and using a cane or starting to get to that mobility level. 56% of Rhode Islanders already identify. So if you're not doing something about accessibility, fixing your parking and your housing, you're alienating 56% of the state. We need to do better, and that's why this is so important, and I'd love to work with each and every one of you on this. My next topic, if no one else has questions on parking, is going on housing. First and foremost, every single person can live in an accessible home. Every single person can thrive in an accessible community. I have a video on rampisinclusion.org of a video of every one of the rooms in my house. Accessible homes are not white. They are not hospital looking. They don't have bars all over the place. If you watch my videos, my house is very muted. You wouldn't know about the accessibility we don't want to be reminded of it too. We want to have a pretty home that's colorful. So we need to change the stigma of accessible homes. There's also a video of me pulling my refrigerator out on my deck and down into my driveway. Point being is you'd get more friends to help you move if they never had to lift a thing. So accessibility not only works for me, it works for people who have to move, mother and baby carriage. Imagine a mother going home with a toddler in one hand and a baby carriage, trying to fight the stairs, trying to fight, getting up. Just rolling up a ramp would be so much easier. So accessibility, one built from the start, is cheaper, easier, and accessible to everybody. Now, I would make friends with every one of you, and you guys have a cookout. I would love to come, but can I get into your homes? Can I get into your backyards? Can I visit you? And that's the problem. We don't get to visit our family and friends to make memories, and we get left out of the equation because the visitability of accessible housing is not there as well. We need to make sure that when we're building we're building all of these new units, we need to build physically accessible, needs to be the dialogue. You could follow Mayor De Silva in East Providence has led the way on this. He is making an ordinance in his city where 20% of the housing being built has to be fully physically accessible from the start. We only have 1% of housing in the entire state that I could get into right now, and that's only in manors and high rises. After the assisted living fire, do you realize why we don't want to live in manors or high rises? Because not only are we vulnerable, when I'm in bed, it takes me a while to transfer into my wheelchair and then get my wheelchair powered up and to get going. That if I'm on a first floor, I have an option to get myself out. If I'm on a third or 10th floor, I'm going to die in my apartment, as we just saw with assisted living. It's a reality. I'm not being all gloom and doom, but it's a reality that if we don't build proper accessible housing, it's not an if, it's a when this tragedy happens here in Rhode Island. Besides the fact, we want housing I live in my own home out in Burrillville. I live by myself. I have a service dog. I'm able to get up every morning, open my back door, and let him run. If it's raining, if it's hot, if it's snowing, I don't have to be dressed to walk him. If I lived in an apartment or a manor, I'd have to be dressed first thing in the morning. That's not possible for somebody that half their body works, and it doesn't always work the way we want it to. My body is my biggest enemy. It has its mind of its own, and it does what it wants. So we want to have our own homes, like little ADUs anywhere we want to put them, or townhouses where one half of the townhouse is fully accessible and the other house is whatever you want it to be. Or if you build them in complexes, put the mobility apartments on the first floor. Both of my children, my son just moved out. He's 25. He's moving on with his girlfriend. They just bought a home. No, I'm sorry. They're living in an apartment before their home is built. I can't go and visit him because the apartment that he could afford does not have accessibility features in it at all. My daughter lives on a second floor apartment. I can't go visit her and my grandsons. So imagine not being able to pop over your kids' houses or not being able to go to, their birthday parties or Christmas or the holidays. You don't want to rip kids away from their toys. I can't go and visit my family. I can't be part of those celebrations. If we built accessible, we would be able to have visitability. My son looked very hard to find a place where I could go and visit him. And it took him 6 months. And he says, Mom, once I build my house, it'll be accessible. But we don't want to split families up. We don't want to make that a problem, because what happens is the invitations start coming and we get forgotten and we get left alone. Let's not do that to 56% of Rhode Island and more. Let's fix it. So again, East Providence has a great ordinance. They just went again in front of the planning board on Monday. So I'm sure that they would share that with all of you. And if you need any help creating those ordinances, please let me know, because we don't have any shelters that are fully accessible right now. So I have 27 people experiencing homelessness across Rhode Island that are in wheelchairs because I have no place to place them. I have no place to put them because nothing is accessible. We need to do better, and we need to start with you, the leaders of our cities and towns, to make sure that we're taking care of all populations of all abilities. Anybody have any questions on any of that? I know that was a lot. No one? Okay, we'll move on. So once we have parking and once we have housing, we have our next thing where we're going out to businesses free of charge, and we're assessing their businesses to get a ramp stamp of approval. We tell them straight off the bat, they will not be ADA compliant. ADA is 35 years old this Saturday, but it hasn't really been updated since 35 years ago. So what most people don't even realize is push buttons on doors isn't even required through the ADA, because that wasn't a thing 35 years ago. So we try to help and guide people to become accessible as possible. Once they hit 85 to 90% accessible, which means I can get through their front door, I can properly use their bathroom, and I can roll around 80% of their building without any help at all. They get the ramp stamp of approval. Then we have a contract with them that we stay with them. We will train their employees of how to interact with the disability community. We will help them hire the disability community. And we will also help them with a workability grant that is on my website from the Governor's Workforce Board that gives every small business $5,000 to start the process of becoming accessible. Once they start the process of becoming accessible, they can take $15,000 in tax breaks each and every year to continue the process. So do your front door this year, do your bathroom next year. So we're not trying to take money away from small businesses. We're trying to adopt them so they can let in 56% of the community that they're missing. So if you were to open a business today and I told you that you could only let in 44% of the community, would you want to open that business? Or I say, by putting a ramp here or widening this doorway or fixing your bathroom, you can now let in 100% of Rhode Island. Wouldn't that be a better business to start? So we are trying very, very hard to have a directory on our website of all of the businesses that are ramp stamp of approved. We have probably over 200 businesses right now that are done. We have another 300 in the pipeline that are fixing a few things here and there. But this website is great. So people visiting the Ocean State can now go onto this website and say, oh, look, I can go to this event center. I can go to this restaurant. I can bring my grandmother here. They now have a thing, but they don't have, how many times I have called the restaurant and said, are you wheelchair accessible? They say yes. I get there and they're like, it's only one step. You walk through the wall and I'll attempt the one step. They don't know what they don't know until we guide them through it. Think of all the places that you have gone through in the last week, or think about all the places that you are going to. Could I come with you? Could I, in a power chair, easily roll in and come with you? You'll be surprised of how many places are not fully accessible in our state. Let's change that. Sometimes it's just a matter of a suitcase ramp that they put out in the morning when they open their business, and they take it back in the afternoon when the business is closed. They're accessible. People can now enter their business. We can work on the next steps. We have a description under each business of they offer vegan and gluten-free. They have a bathroom. They have a Hoyer lift for a family bathroom, or they don't have this, or they don't have that. And as the businesses update, we update their descriptions. We call them every 6 months to check in with them to see if there's anything that they need to make sure that they're all up on it. And we would love your support to talk to your businesses or bring me in to talk to your businesses or your leaders of your businesses to get ramp stamp approved in every city and town here in the state of Rhode Island. That is our goal, to make everybody fully accessible. Again, if we can make our little state of Rhode Island fully accessible, we can work on the rest of the country and we can be a leader in something that's so important. We talk about DEI, we talk about inclusion, we talk about all of this, but if you're not accessible and you're not allowing people like me in, you're not doing it right. Because we work hard, we matter, we want to enjoy, and we have money to spend. That's the big thing that everybody misses. We have money to spend, and I know people who support me won't go to businesses that aren't accessible because they're not going to give them money that I can't go and join them. So let's all work together. I am open to come to any city and town to work with your businesses. And again, we do it all for free. We ask for a donation. That's it. You know, if you like what we do, if we're benefiting you, give us a donation. I've never gone to a business where they haven't given us a donation. But again, we don't require that and we don't set a limit to it because we want the accessibility to be the importance, not the money factor. Anybody have any questions on that?
There was a question in the chat, and I'm not sure where this will fall, but seems like it might fall here. Somebody asked, what is the expectation from the state commission on existing buildings going through a tenant fit out for new business? Some of these commercial spaces would require significant alterations to meet our current design standard.
Anybody going under major reservation is supposed to go accessible. If you are redoing your front door and putting new steps, I know I'm working with a building in Providence right now that they're redoing their front door and putting steps in. And it would be so easy, instead of putting 3 steps in, to just ramp that because it goes along the side of the building. And now we have to go through legal action to do it because they just won't listen and they won't do it. But any major renovation that you do, you're supposed to make accessibility accommodations. I get it that we have buildings, and like I said earlier, we're not going for fully ADA compliant because that's almost going to be impossible in some of our buildings. We're looking that we can get in the front door. Is there a bathroom in the building that we can properly use? We may not be able to use all of them, but is there one in the building that we can use? And can we roll around 85% of the space? So we're doing it non-legally, non-invasive. We will never throw a business under the bus that's not accessible. We do it on a positive lens. It is a safe space. So when businesses open up and want to talk to us, we talk to them. We do not throw anybody under the bus at all. We do it as a teaching, learning, and making things better along the way. But the expectation is again, a door, a bathroom, and 80% of the space is our criteria to getting around. And as they do that and they see more and more people come in, then we can work on more spaces going down the road. Did that answer the question?
I hope so. I don't know if that person could, Jay Nels is able to take themselves off mute, but
no more questions?
Yeah, no more questions.
Okay, perfect. So next slide. What can you do today to make an easy impact? Review the signs of accessibility around your cities and towns. See what's accessible, see what's not. See what your accessible parking looks like. See what your curb cuts look like. See what most of your businesses look like as you're going in and around your towns and your cities. Identify and call me in. Have me come down and help you. You know, if you want to go out for a day and we just roll around some businesses, we can do that. Let's go look together. Let me show you what's good, what's bad, what we could fix, and how we can change it. No cameras, no nothing, just us walking around, making improvements to your cities and towns. Again, walk your sidewalks, test them. Can I go with you? That is the question. Can I, in my power chair, go with you? That is the question to everybody. Use the app. Download the Parking Mobility app today. Start using it. Get yourself familiar with it. Get your city councilors and stuff involved in it. The more people that are using it, even right now that it's not adopted, we can still collect all of that data. I can share all of that data with your cities and towns to let you know how your city and town is bearing in those areas. So you actually have data behind it. And the best thing that you can do right now is partner with RAMP. Bring us in when you're doing a housing project. Let us look at the plans. Bring us in before you're building a building or you're redoing sidewalks. Have us take a look at it. I know a lot of construction workers, they go through the course, but their 8-hour course is not livable experience. And again, I'm not saying where it is, but somebody just opened brand new bathrooms for accessibility, which I am fully on board with. They're fantastic. The only thing is they have to make slight tweaks to them. The doors open out. An accessible bathroom door should always open out, just so you all know that. But when it opens out onto the ramp. So there's no extra ramp on the end for me to get past the door to open the door to use the bathroom. So by them would have talking with us prior to doing this, we could have rolled that ramp. We could have taught them. But again, all I have to do now is add an extra piece of ramp at the end of their ramp, and that bathroom would be fully accessible, which everybody should have that in their public spaces. Proper accessible bathrooms, because you can rent a porta potty that's accessible. Not one wheelchair user can use it. We don't fit in them. They don't work for us. So yes, they have the pretty little accessible sign on them, but I'm telling you now, they do not work. Besides the fact, when you go into a porta potty, you don't want to touch anything. Remember, we have to touch the bars. We need something to lean on to transfer from our wheelchairs onto something else. So if we're building them accessible from the get-go, we never have to worry about this. And we know that our clients are safe, and there'll never be a lawsuit of somebody suing you because it's not actually accessible. So those are the things that you can do today. Anybody have any questions on any of that?
There's another question in the chat from Emily. It says, if a business is wanting to become more accessible, do you guys assist with the financials of building / adding in a ramp or expanding the doorway, or do you offer guidance on how they could become more accessible?
Yes, we will guide them right through the entire process. They can go on rampapproved.com, which is our website. There is a pre-assessment. There is also the contract on there. And then they can schedule their roll through with us, again, free of charge. And then we also offer, again, the workforce workability grants through the Governor's Workforce Board that gives them $5,000 to start. We're hoping the more people use that, we can put more money into that so we can give higher amounts. And then once they start the process, they can take $15,000 in tax breaks each and every year to continue the process. So we're trying to do it as best we can, but we need more. Again, we're a data state. We need more data. We need more people using it. We need more people doing it. But without you guys leading the way, we can't get that data. We can't get those numbers. We can't get those levels higher. So this is what we started with. It's going very well, and we'd like to do more and more down the road. Did that answer your question, Emily?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Anybody else have a question? Nope. I feel like I'm hoping you're all interested, and I'm hoping I'm giving you some valuable tips today. But the next thing I would like to do, and Jen is going to send you all the Eventbrite links, so you'll have all of the details. But our biggest event of the year is this Saturday, July 26th, which is the 35th anniversary of the signing of the ADA. So we'll be celebrating that, as well as our 5th anniversary of Accessibility is Beautiful. This event is incredible. We have 2,000 people come through every year. We have over 100 vendors. All of our vendors are of the disability community selling an item for their business. So it shows you that people of disability work, thrive, and encourage in business. We also have all of our entertainment. We have a foam truck. We have a petting zoo. We have interactive art for all the kids. It is family friendly. We have a lot of our elected officials that will be there, from the Lieutenant Governor, Secretary of State. Your leader, Mayor Bob De Silva, will be there. Senator Reed, Congressman Amo will come and speak about accessibility, but come and have a good time. The whole idea is to meet the community where they're at, learn from them, see them, and get a picture of why this is so important in your city and town, because all of these people that are at our event, whether they have visible or invisible disabilities, want to thrive in your cities and towns, want to live in your cities and towns, want to spend their money in your cities and towns. And the only way that's going to happen is from the top down. So by you guys doing the right thing makes us live a better life and thrives in your cities and towns. And a quick note, I told you all that I am on the United States Access Board. I was just promoted to Director of Planning. So I am now the face of the United States Access Board. And I told them I would take the directorship if they came to Rhode Island. So they are coming to Rhode Island in May of 2026. So keep the afternoon of May 5th available, because they will be here. You will be part of our town hall, and then we'll be doing a reception for all of you in the afternoon, so you can meet and greet with the United States Access Board and let them know what you're doing to champion accessibility. That is very important. The Access Board is made up by 13 public members that are appointed by the president. Every one of us has been appointed by Biden or older. Trump has not appointed any of us to the Access Board as of yet. He may as of this December. And the other members are federal members. So from HUD, from VA, from education, from all. So you'll actually get to talk to federal members that not only talk about accessibility, that talk about federal existing items that you may want to talk about to bring possible funding here to the state of Rhode Island. This is a once in a lifetime kind of thing, because they have to do all 50 states before they come back again. So we have a plan, and we will be touring the entire state of Rhode Island. So let's give them something to really tour and see. Let's show them that Rhode Island can be fully accessible, and all of our mayors and town administrators are on board to making sure that everybody in their community can thrive, work, play, and live the best life possible. Let's make it happen together. Let's work together, and let's make accessibility a priority. Accessibility isn't a destination, it's a journey, and it takes all of us to do it together. My email, my cell phone, everything is fully available to every single one of you and to your businesses. Please feel free to share it out. Again, all of our services are for free. If you would like us to come and talk to something at your city and town, I would be more than happy to do so and help out in any way possible. I thank you all for having me today and listening. I hope you learned something today and that I can help you all out in some way in the future. And I hope to see you all Saturday at Accessibility is Beautiful, because I'm telling you, it is a great event that you will not want to miss.
Thank you, Tina. That looks like so much fun. I do see one more question in the chat from Jenna. It says, this is excellent, thank you. When it comes to housing, what are the key components for accessible housing units? And what are the components that people may overlook?
The key components to accessible housing is ramping, not one ramp, but two. Every house that you build, you have two egresses, two exits. Well, half a body doesn't mean half a way out. So make sure that there's two ramps on the houses. Make sure your doorways are at least 36 inches. That would be a huge task right from the beginning. If you're not putting a ramp on it up front, you want to make sure your doorways are wide enough so that way it's easily accessible. Everybody wants us to rent or buy a house or an apartment that we can't get into and see and then adapt it later. Would you do that? So no. So the point is ramps, wider doorways, and an accessible bathroom. A bathroom that has at least a 5-foot turning radius in the bathroom. You know, a roll-in shower or a shower with a tub cut would be preferable. But just think, we're all getting older and we're all aging. How many of you have slipped and fallen on the ice and your back hurts? Wouldn't it be easier to not have to step over a tub, or to just kind of like sit on a bench in your shower and just sit there and let the water run over you to take the pain away? That's as simple as it is. You know, you want to have your grandparents come and stay with you or visit you. If you're accessible, you can have that happen. So just common sense things. You know, like I said, ramps, doors, wider, and a bathroom that people can use. Those are the main components. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Okay,
Anyone
any
else?
others?
And like I said, I will make myself after Saturday, because the rest of this week I'm crazy getting ready for Saturday. We already have 2,000 people registered for Saturday guests. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you are a public official and you want to be dropped off at the event for a little while, you can use Fantasies parking lot. They're giving us the roundabout around Fantasies to let people drop off. And they're also lending our parking lot to all of our accessible parking. So our accessible parking will be in Fantasies parking lot, but there will be also a drop off and pickup for any public official that, you know, just wants to come and stop by, but doesn't want to, you know, park or walk a far way. You can get dropped off at the Fantasies roundabout and walk over from there. We'll be inside the steel yard.
Perfect. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. Please interrupt me if there are, but I'm going to just thank you, Tina. This was so informative, and you know, I will get this information out, a link to our video here today, and the other items that you sent me, and make sure that they get out to everybody here at the league, all of our members.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for having me. And if there's, again, I can't stress this enough. There's anything that you guys need, there is no question that is silly. I'd rather you ask before you do it than have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to repair it after the fact. Let's do it right the first time.
That is the way to go. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you everybody for attending. And I hope you all have a great day.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tina.